that were just like very.
One, two, three.
Welcome to Arts and Leisure on the HAN Network. This is our weekly program featuring everything that is coming up in the area's music, arts, and entertainment scene. We will interview local artists, authors, musicians, and even some nationally recognized names who may be performing here in our area. We will have movie reviews and film suggestions from the real dad, Mark Schumann, and etiquette tips from Catherine Michaels. This is your all-access pass, and here are your hosts, Arts and Leisure editor Sally Sanders and our entertainment reporter Steve Coulter.
Welcome to Arts and Leisure on the HAN Network. I'm your host, Steve Coulter. I'm joined on the couch, as always, with Sally Sanders. Last week, we spoke a little bit about American films and what it makes a quintessential American movie. This week, we're going full gears in the opposite direction. We're doing British spy movies. Last week, and I had the pleasure of seeing Our Kind of Traitor, which is the latest John Le Carré. I'm butchering it again, aren't I?
You got it.
I got it. Okay, got it.
Le Carré.
Le Carré. That's his latest movie with Ewan McGregor, Stellan Skarsgård, and Damian Lewis. It's a spy thriller that starts off in Morocco. It goes to Paris. It back and forth to London, the Swiss Alps. So it's kind of your typical British spy movie all over the continental Europe and a little bit of Africa. And it involves Russian mobsters. So it's very... it's sprawled out.
It's a great summer movie.
It is a great summer movie. I liked it.
Ideas of places you want to visit?
Oh my God, yeah. I was like, Paris, I want to go back.
Yeah.
Immediately. It's just like the Swiss Alps. The locations are great.
So the acting was good?
The acting was really good. I like Damian Lewis kind of playing against type as the detective. He's like kind of the fourth lead. So the star of the film is Ewan McGregor, and
who's lovely.
He kind of stumbles upon, Stellan, who's this Russian mobster, who's the accountant of the Russian mob, and Stellan's life is in jeopardy. So he kind of is trying to leverage his own life, but Ewan is just this tourist. He's traveling with his wife, and they have a rocky relationship, and that was kind of the plot point that didn't work for me. Was their relationship is that it starts off with a really sour, and then it comes out that he cheated on her, and then by the end of the movie they're working together, slapping high fives, like look at us saving the day, and it's just like,
well, there's nothing
what
like
about
being in fear for your life to bring you together. Right?
That's true, but they just never even talked about like their problems. It was like a early plot of the movie, and then it just like went full thriller, which is fine. I mean, I enjoy the action sequences and the planes blowing up and the deception and all the shooting and stuff like that. It was a fun ride. It was a summer movie, but it was an Independence Day resurgence.
John Le Carré is just like the most prolific.
He's the staple of the genre. He kicked us off in the early 60s with his book. It was The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, which was made into a movie 2 years later. And so along with Dr. No and those two films kind of started this genre 50 plus years ago, and here we are today, still watching these British spy thrillers.
Well, we were saying that it was kind of the golden era of British spy films was in the mid to late 60s, early 70s.
Big time.
And we had James Bond, of course, coming out
full force. Because you had the Cold
War.
War. That was like,
Yeah.
That was like when it really...
We're cranking that up a little again, so maybe we're just on the verge of something new here.
And then you had the throwback from a couple years ago, the Gary Oldman movie, which is also based on one of his novels.
Yeah, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Right, which is set in 1970.
Yeah.
And that follows George Smiley. That's a great, iconic performance. First time Gary Oldman was ever nominated for an Academy Award.
Well, it's interesting because I remember the PBS miniseries with Alec Guinness, who was George Smiley, and I couldn't conceive of someone else being George Smiley, but
How did Gary Oldman do?
he did well. He did well.
If there's anybody to fill in Alec Guinness's shoes, it would be Gary Oldman, I think.
Yeah. So, what are some of your favorite Le Carrés?
Oh, I've really enjoyed A Most Wanted Man, which came out a few years ago. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, one of Philip Seymour Hoffman's last roles, so it's a hard watch knowing that he was kind of putting it all into this role.
He looks terrible. He looks terrible.
He does look a little heavy, and the character is definitely thorny to say the least.
Yeah.
And it's very complex, which is one of the kind of key ingredients of the genre. That movie is, if you're not paying attention from the first...
That's what's great about spy films.
Exactly. You have to be glued to your... And that was when I was watching Our Kind of Traitor. I was like, oh, the relationship will come and play, back into it, but no.
But no?
Yeah, nothing to do with it at the end.
So you have an alliterative device for
I do.
films.
I've got a couple C's. The complex plots, the canals. You always feel like you're...
There's water.
Yeah, there's always water, some sort of back-end deal is happening near the water or in a canal, or
That's true.
cars are driving near the canals or something like
Yeah.
that. I feel like that was in Our Kind of Traitor. even though
Headlights shining off water.
It had nothing to do with the movie, but there was a water sequence. I don't know why they can't stop themselves. And then of course criminals. In this case, the Russian mob. Sometimes it's a South African. I'm trying to think of some other famous ones, but there's so many other people that are the criminals. And then of course it's country is the last one of the alliteration, and that's the legacy of the British Empire, which of course they are fighting for. James Bond, we talked about it in the fall. That's what he's fighting for. He is the legacy
for the Queen.
Yeah,
yes.
It's all for the Queen, and so that country obviously plays a huge role in these movies.
Yeah. One of my favorites is The Constant Gardener.
Oh, I love The Constant Gardener.
With Ralph Fiennes and
Rachel Weisz. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's set in actually it's
Sudan,
filmed
right?
It's
or
filmed
Kenya?
in Kenya.
Kenya.
Yeah, but it's very much British Empire era in a way.
Yeah, that's another Le Carré
yes,
book
another Le Carré.
that they adapted into a film. Probably, I think, because she won, I'm assuming probably his most decorated of the films.
It might be.
Yeah, because she won for
be.
supporting actress.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been nominated for screenwriting as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the earlier ones, but I think that...
Now, where do we stand on Alfred Hitchcock? Because he had plenty of spy thrillers in his canon. Not necessarily British spy thrillers, though. The first one that comes to mind is North by Northwest.
Which is a very American film.
I know, and you had Notorious, I know, on your list. So it's a British director, but with these very kind of American ideals, American settings. Notorious is less American, obviously, than North by Northwest, where he's in Mount Rushmore. But it's
and
kind
cornfields
of
or
they're the
wheat
honorable
fields.
mentions, I feel like, because of being Hitchcock and being he was the master of the thriller, of course.
One of his earliest ones, The 39 Steps, which is set in Britain. That's with Robert Donat, who was Mr. Chips later on.
Oh, really?
Yes, but in this one, he's a Canadian who's in England and sort of wrongly identified as a spy, and he gets involved in one of these wonderful complex plots.
You gotta love those complex plots.
Yeah.
You never know when they're gonna hit you right over the head.
And that was done in 1935, so that's early Hitchcock, but before he'd moved on to the States, I guess.
I was gonna say 35 Hitchcock. That's like pre-World War I.
Yes, World War II.
Or World War II. Sorry, that's before Rope. That's before The Third Man.
Yeah,
that's before any of his big ones. I know you wanted to mention The Third Man as well. That's
not a Hitchcock. That's Carol Reed.
right. I'm transitioning.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Graham Greene is another great writer of spy stories. And The Third Man, of course, is the classic. That's Orson Welles and Joseph Cotten. Joseph Cotten. Friends who meet up after World War II in Vienna, which is at that point still divided amongst the Soviets, I think the Brits and the Americans. And it's all about black marketing and this character named Harry Lime, who is or isn't dead, who has or hasn't done something horrible.
Is he dead or not dead?
Yes.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere of it is just superb. Carol Reed does this just amazing. He used post-war Vienna with all the rubble and the burned down buildings and as part of this of his movie. So it's very atmospheric.
It's very real.
And it's shot in black and white, and a lot of it at night, and darkness.
The black and white, that's I think that
just,
really sets the genre up.
but
the
the
early
final
ones.
scene, it comes close to Rosebud in the end, where Orson Welles is trying to reach through a sewer grate to escape, and you just see his fingers.
Right.
It's just
It's one of those iconic moments in film.
you can watch that movie over and
over again. What are some of your other favorite
Well,
ones on your
I'll
list?
give you another one that's
I know you had
Graham
one-
Greene.
Right, yeah.
Which is Our Man in Havana, which is kind of the flip side of the spy business.
It's Alec Guinness back again,
Alec
right?
Guinness, and Alec Guinness is this hapless vacuum cleaner salesman in Havana, and he somehow gets recruited to be a spy for the Brits. And
How do these guys keep falling?
I
This is the exact same. It's the same plot line all over again. It's these
Okay.
innocent guys that get recruited into these complex
well,
plots.
apparently that's a classic way to go. But anyway, so what Alec
They don't
Guinness
know any better.
does,
They're innocent.
what Alec Guinness does is he doesn't really have any secrets to provide, but his friend says, well, everything is crazy anyway, so why don't you just use what you know? So he's telling all these stories based on things he sees in the street, and and making them sound as if they're
The truth.
the truth and real plots, and it sets in motion a whole lot of trouble for everyone. And he's just like this goof in the middle of it all.
Right.
It's a great film.
Yeah, that one's on my homework list when I saw it.
Yeah.
Eye of the Needle with Donald Sutherland. I know you wanted to talk about that one.
Ooh,
That's a
yes.
great Donald Sutherland. Maybe his best.
Yeah, well, Donald Sutherland does evil pretty well. I
Definitely.
mean, even in his later years, he can do evil pretty well. But in this one, he's an attractive young man who is.
He's very young there. I can't believe that's him.
Yeah,
Look at him.
yeah.
And Michael Caine also had one on your list too when he was a young man. 1965.
Oh, yes. Harry Palmer,
Yeah.
the Ipcrest File. When we talk about spy movies, we always think about James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
And the Harry Palmer films, there were 3 of them, based on books by Lynn Dighton. Those were kind of the antidote to the really highfalutin, very technically adept, sexy god
James Bond.
Sean Connery. This was kind of a
You could just say James Bond.
yeah, well, James Bond. But this is kind of a nebbishy guy with horn-rimmed glasses,
Right.
Michael Caine, who kind of falls into being a spy, another one of these sort of reluctant recruits, and he gets involved with something called the Ipcrest File. That's the first one, and torture, all kinds of
All the fun stuff.
all the fun stuff.
Not necessarily a summer movie.
No,
Not
well,
like Our Kind of Traitor, but maybe.
But there's always an element of fun in it too. It's not totally dark. With Michael Caine, you really get totally dark. So in this series of 3, the Ipcrest File is the best, and then it kind of goes downhill from there.
Well, that happens a lot in Hollywood.
Yeah.
As
Well,
I'm sure
even
Mark
with James,
Schumann, our real dad, would agree.
even with James Bond films.
Right, Dr. No, Goldfinger, those are the classics.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Dr. No was on my list. That's kind of like the original. That started, I think, really the sensation in the 60s, which led to some of these greater pieces
That was
of work.
the first one with Sean Connery.
Right,
Yeah?
yep. And then also, going all the way back to the Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Sorry,
Yes.
it's a long title. It was also a TV series in the late 70s, as you mentioned. And then The Night Manager came out. That's based on another Le Carre novel. That was on
Ooh, yes.
AMC earlier this year. And Hugh Laurie's in it. I really want to see it. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard great things.
Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston,
And-
Taylor Swift's new boyfriend.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, well. He's kind of cute.
Don't worry, we're not breaking the news here on Arts and
And-
Leisure. That's out there in the gossip.
And Tom
magazines.
Hollander, I think, is
Right.
he's wonderful. I really do like him. And the woman detective who's standing next to Tom Hollander, whose name I can't, Oliva something. She was in
Yeah, she's in a lot of
she was in
stuff.
Broadchurch, and she was so good in that. So that would be fun to see her again.
So if you're not going to go see the movie Our Kind of Traitor in theaters, you can always pop that on your on-demand over the weekend and get your British spy thriller fix on the TV.
Yeah.
And that's all we have for this segment. We're going to head off to our first commercial break. When we come back on, we're going to have Catherine Michaels on the couch to talk beach etiquette.
Yeah, so get
We'll be
ready.
right back after the commercial break.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Mosquitoes, ticks, gone. Guaranteed. That's what Mosquito Squad guarantees as America's most trusted mosquito and tick control company. Locally owned and operated, over 90,000 homes have been protected by Mosquito Squad using their dual protection method for season-long protection, which includes barrier spray service for eliminating mosquitoes and adult ticks, as well as supplemental programs to increase tick control. They use only USDA organic options, which are safe and non-toxic. Contact them today at www.squadctny.com or 203-893-4309. Mosquito Squad. No bugs, no bites, no kidding.
Warm weather, light breezes, boats are in the water. There's no better place to celebrate summer than the Dock Shop. Whether in Darien at 51 Tokenique Road or Westport at 609 Riverside Avenue, the Dock Shop is where you'll find everything you need to kick off summer. From the latest summer apparel to the newest fishing tackle, the Dock Shop will help you get the most out of your next beach day or harbor cruise. At the Dock Shop, you'll find a wonderful selection of items made in the USA and right here in New England, all with a distinct nautical flair. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the coastal lifestyle, this is a unique place to shop. DockShop.com.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 1 million people have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment programming since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Arts and Leisure on the HAN Network. We're joined on the couch with Catherine Michaels. It's, the middle of summer here. We've still got, I think, 7 or 8 good weeks of beach weather.
It's just started,
Yeah,
really.
it really has just started. The hot air is here. People are flocking to the beaches. People were probably there last week. A lot of people were probably annoyed by other people's rudeness and a lack of proper etiquette. And that's why we've got Catherine Michaels on to talk about proper beach etiquette, because there are so many elements about going to the beach that can go wrong for someone who's just trying to listen to the waves and take in the sun and hop in the water.
Exactly.
It's not that simple though, right?
It's not that simple. And the beach doesn't have fun police going around patrolling and reprimanding somebody who's not behaving as you'd like them to. And we've all had a bad experience somewhere along the way of somebody being rude, impolite, thoughtless, or whatever at the beach, and engaging in pretty selfish behaviors.
That's what it really is. It's just a lack of awareness to other people.
It's
just total lack of awareness. It's selfishness.
So I think we should start with your worst beach experience.
We're getting really into it already. All right, so I have a good one. Unless, Sally, do you want to share first? Or no?
I can go.
All right, you go first.
Okay.
I'll close.
Standing with friends, cup of beer in my hand.
Did someone knock it into you?
Someone went flying by me, trying to catch a ball. Beer all over me, soaked.
Oh, no.
Except there was a little beer left in the cup. And as the guy picked himself up and started to walk away without saying,
sorry or anything?
excuse me,
Oh, my goodness.
my beer spilled on him. Just sort of automatically.
Oh.
So I was rude, he was rude. This is not the way you handle conflict.
But you said there was only a little bit left.
Yeah, it was just
He
enough to
deserved
make
it.
him notice that, there was liquid involved.
Revenge can be good.
Yeah, I
It
was
can,
gonna say.
but it's, in these days, you never know what kind of weapon someone might be carrying or who he's hanging out with, so not a good
That's right.
idea. I don't recommend it.
No, but, it
But
was
as an impulse, it was great.
it's a nice gentle impulse.
Yeah, the only thing you could do at the time was
Yeah.
flip it onto him. He deserved it, it sounded like. I got a good one. We were in Florida earlier this year. Someone that took our beach chairs, the ones you buy when you start off your day. You're down in Florida, and they've got a guy who sells chairs, and so you buy them. We left for lunch, came back, towels were thrown on the sand, and someone had just taken our chairs.
Had they moved them away or
I don't know where they went. They were just not there anymore. We had paid. Really bad. I mean, what do you do? Like, you pay for the chair, and then it's gone, and then you have to sit in the sand the rest of the day. I mean, that's like a first world
At least
problem,
they left
but-
your towels.
Yeah, that's true. And our bags, too. I mean, we left
The other problem
some
is you
sunscreen.
usually have to return them.
Right.
You might have put down a deposit on renting that chair or whatever, and
It
then
was
you're in a
terrible.
very stuck place.
It was like a day ruiner.
That's awful.
Because then by midday, all the chairs are gone. So the reason why, I should explain, the reason why someone took them, obviously, was that there were
No
more
no more
chairs
chairs
left.
for sale. And so they thought, hey, here's some empty ones.
Yeah, these people
Take
don't
the
need them.
Yeah, I'll take the towels off, and they won't be none the wiser.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh,
People, though, it's the selfishness. That's
it is selfishness.
yeah. What are
So-
some other beach
Another good
examples?
guideline is don't feed the seagulls.
Oh yes, that's
right?
right.
Seagulls, when you do, they fly over your head, they land on your head.
They do all
They try to
sorts of
grab your
stuff.
sandwich, they poop on your head. They terrify children.
They just ruin your day.
They can
'Cause they're
ruin
there
your
the
day.
rest of the day.
Yeah.
What a nuisance.
Yeah, and so, don't ever just throw out a French fry because
Mm-hmm.
you think it'd be fun. It's not fun for all the aforesaid reasons. And also, if you still think it's fun, it's not good for the seagulls because they eat a different diet than we do and they can actually get sick. So even if your inclination is to say, oh, I don't want this bread crust, I'll give it to the seagulls, which you shouldn't ever do, don't do it on the moral principles of you might make them sick.
Yeah.
It's awful. In that same sort of vein, it's very fun to play catch with a beach ball or smash ball.
I do love playing catch on the beach.
What was the wooden paddle one? Kadima, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kadeem. Yeah, Kadeem
Something like
sounds right.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that like when you're on your knees and you're just going back and forth?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or on your feet and running back
Yeah.
and forth. Yeah, and
Okay.
it's it's all fun.
That's why you're supposed to be on the knees. That way you don't run into people.
Exactly. Move away from other people to do that because no matter how careful you think you're being, you are going to step on their blanket. You're going to kick sand on them. Move to a place that's not so crowded. Conversely,
You're going to spill their beer.
Yep.
exactly. Conversely, when you're arriving at the beach, don't set up right next to a volleyball net that's already there because it's there for people to play volleyball and you are going to get sand kicked on you and a ball on your head, etc. So
That's better known as common sense.
it is common sense. a great deal of etiquette is
Yeah.
common sense.
Don't set up near the volleyball court.
That's right.
Should
And-
be one of those
oh.
areas that have like a 10-foot perimeter.
Yeah, unless you want to watch
Unless
the
you wanna
volleyball
watch,
and
right.
you're prepared for the consequences.
The consequences,
Yeah.
exactly.
Which could be sweat, sand, a volleyball.
A girl in a
Any
bikini
of
landing
the-
in your lap.
Or as Sally
Ooh,
said,
there you
getting
go.
your beer knocked over.
Yeah.
This could be a bad thing.
So another thing at the beach is noise. And
Oh, I hate when people are playing their music at the beach. It's
Yeah.
terrible. What are some of the etiquette rules? Should I bring the boombox next time I'm there? Is that cool or is that completely
If the
against
entire
rules?
beach has gotten together and voted to elect you their DJ for the day, no. No matter how great you think you've put together a collection
A
of
great playlist.
beach tunes, a
Beach
playlist, or
playlist of the
whatever,
year.
earphones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then everybody can have their noise be the gentle sound of the crashing waves.
That's what you're really there for.
and the
You're there
children
for-
shrieking and summer sound.
If I wanted to
Summer
listen to
sound.
music, I could listen to music in my car. I can listen to it in my house. I can listen to it anywhere.
It's
but
great
not
to
at the
listen.
beach.
It's nice to listen to it at the beach if you
Right.
want to, but if you don't have earphones, then at least keep it projecting only the space of your blanket or your towel, so other people don't have to listen to
Now,
it.
if I'm laying out on the beach and some guy comes behind me and sits down with music, what do I say to him? Do I just confront and say,
If it's bothering you,
Yeah.
you nicely say, "Hey, would you mind turning that down just a little bit?"
not off? What if I really just want it off?
Then you move.
You move.
Beach chair and all?
Yeah,
Yeah.
beach chair and
Can't
all.
leave the beach chair.
Cooler, beach chair, the whole thing.
What's
Yeah.
the protocol with dealing with trash at the beach?
Oh, well, the protocol, of course, is to throw it out. A lot of beaches don't have trash cans.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ask me why.
They
it's
want you to
crazy.
carry out, yeah.
Yeah, they want you to carry it out. So it's a really good idea to carry a trash bag in your tote or whatever, and then pick up your trash. Pick up your food scraps, your empty bottles, whatever.
Fruit is one that I always see people.
Oh,
it's like
pits
yeah,
and
they
stuff.
toss pits and pears and grapes.
Right.
People love throwing grapes at the seagulls as if the seagulls want grapes. They don't want grapes.
Well, they
want
might
bread.
want grapes, but you shouldn't be giving.
Yeah.
I mean, no kidding. If you've ever seen somebody do that, that seagull has 100 relatives, and they're all up there waiting to come swooping down
Yeah.
on that one grape. It's just, it's really a terrible thing. You know, pick up your old magazines you're done with, your spent sunscreen bottles or whatever. Take it home with you. The other thing to
you don't
remember.
think burying it in the sand is a good idea?
It's very important. You know, the plastic rings that come around like a 6-pack of beer or soda
Yeah.
Yes,
or
those
whatever.
are really dangerous.
Everybody knows by now those are horrible hazards. Sea
Mm-hmm.
turtles and other animals and birds can get caught in them and die.
Yeah.
Styrofoam, people just take a disposable styrofoam cooler and leave it on the beach. Birds and some sea life think that's food, and it kills them. So take it all with you
Yeah.
There
when
should
you
be
go.
like a beach video that people should watch. I guess this would be it.
Mm-hmm.
Sea life is important, people. Don't leave stuff at the beach.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious.
Well, there's another one that's really annoying, which are using the beaches as an ashtray.
Do not use the beach as your ashtray. If you smoke, don't smoke around other people. Even at the beach, even though you're in an outdoor space, it's secondhand smoke. So that's really rude and thoughtless.
Some places are now forbidding it, right? I think.
A lot of beaches now
Yeah.
have a no smoking rule.
Yeah.
If the beach doesn't have a no smoking rule, take it out to if you have to smoke, take it out to the parking lot, put out your cigarette and dispose of it in a trash can or effectively. Because the other thing besides the secondhand smoke is that cigarettes aren't biodegradable. I mean, this isn't exactly etiquette, but it has to do with everybody's health. And so if you leave them in the sand or they get in the water,
People love leaving them in the sand. That's like the number one thing that people leave.
it's
Yeah.
the hugest ashtray in the world, right?
Yeah.
Put out your cigarette. They leach carcinogens, they leach toxins.
Right.
It's a horrible thing. So if you smoke, you smoke. No judgment on that, but make sure you don't do it around other people and make sure you dispose of your,
I
your
mean, so like,
cigarette butts.
aren't cigarettes supposed to like calm you? Like you're doing it because you're like anxious after work or whatever. I don't know why people smoke them, but like if you're at the beach, aren't you supposed to just be relaxed? You don't really need the cigarettes. Leave them in the car for the day. You're
No,
relaxing.
you're most people are addicted to it, and
Right.
they need a
They need
fix.
the nicotine.
Yeah.
That
they
way,
do.
go out to the parking lot. I'm with Catherine.
Yeah.
If you need the fix, go to the parking lot.
Well, when
That's
you're
right.
when you're at a beach, the big thing is sand, and sand can be
Sand is
lovely,
everywhere.
and sand can be a problem.
Sand can be a huge
It can be in
problem.
your towel. It can be in your shoe, your sandal.
Yeah.
What are the appropriate guidelines for sand?
Well, hopefully most people know this too. When you're done for the day and you want to shake out your towel or your blanket, fold it up and carry it down by the water or away from where people are, because when you do this and it gets in the air, all those little
Everywhere.
particles
Yep.
get in your face and in your eyes. It's thoughtless. Same shaking out your shoes or some other article of clothing.
And if you're running around too, you're kicking sand in
You're
other
kicking
people's
sand,
faces.
right?
You see that all the time. It's like someone gets up from their chair and then the first thing they do is start sprinting. It's like just walk to the ocean and then jump in the ocean. You don't need to sprint to the ocean. It's not going anywhere. It's a big, huge body of water.
Oh, they're happy and excited.
Listen, I love running into the waves and just diving in too, but you gotta walk away from other people and then you can start running. 'Cause
You
if you're running
absolutely do.
around, the sand's getting kicked into other people's faces.
Always.
Yeah.
And if you have children who
Mm-hmm.
love to run on the beach, you've got to monitor that too, just out of politeness to other people. They're excited. They don't know what they're doing, but they do kick up sand.
They
yeah.
do.
And when they're shoveling, they also
And they
can-
also like to dig up holes, which is a huge hazard.
Holes are a huge hazard. If you're going to dig a hole, your child's going to dig a hole to play in, before you leave, fill it in. An amazing number of people have had broken ankles and leg injuries because they don't see the hole and they step in it. And
Yeah. What about sandcastles? Should you be demolishing your sandcastle when you leave, or can you leave that?
You take it home with you, obviously.
I think you can probably leave that eventually. It's
The
gonna get
waves will
knocked
take it down?
So long as you don't have huge moats around it that people
Yeah.
can step in and break their ankles.
Okay.
Or the holes
No
in the
moats.
ditches.
No
yeah.
moats.
Yeah, fill the moats.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the last ones we're going to touch on is arriving to the beach, because there is a whole etiquette that comes with setting up your whole area, because that's your area for the day.
Have you ever been at the beach and there's hardly anybody else on it and somebody new comes and they set up right next to
Oh
you?
yeah, they think that's like the hot spot.
Right.
They think you've got like something free or something to give away.
Yeah. Especially Americans need space.
Yep.
We're not a real get close kind of culture. Leave space, leave a little walking room when you're setting up, even if it looks like the hot spot. And if somebody comes and sets up right by you, it's okay to say, hey, you might want to move back a couple of feet because I don't want to kick sand on your blanket or bother you. Say it nicely, but you can try to.
Threaten with smoke. I'm a smoker. I'm going to smoke in your face. You got to move.
That's it. Say that. Also, if you have an umbrella, make sure it's really anchored in the sand because they can become projectiles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very scary having somebody's umbrella.
I've seen that
Launch.
several times. Yeah. Umbrellas that are just moving around the beach and no one's there too. It's like the people that left
Right.
them.
Or in the water or
Yeah.
something.
Exactly.
Yeah, really take the time to bury them deeply and make sure that they're anchored because
That should be like one of the
somebody
first steps of getting there. I feel like that and sunblock.
it should. It should. Sunblock is the other.
you don't wanna get
Sunblock
burned.
before you get there.
Yeah.
For it to take
There
effect.
you go. That's actually a good idea. You
Yeah.
don't want to do it on the beach
Yep.
because then you'll be all sandy.
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple other tips.
Sure.
We have time? Okay.
Yeah, we've got plenty of time.
No public displays of affection at the beach. You can hold hands, maybe a little kiss, but no passion. Nobody wants to see it, and it's particularly inappropriate when there's children around. No glass bottles of any sort. If you're taking beer or soda, better to take cans if you can. Glass can break, even on sand, it can fall on a rock, and you can somebody can seriously get hurt stepping
Yeah,
on a big
yeah.
And
shard
that just
of
ruins
glass.
the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, a big shard of glass in the sand.
Bottle caps also. Have you ever stepped on a face-up bottle cap?
Yes.
It's excruciating.
Painful.
Try
Yeah.
to take care of those
Especially when
things
you
too.
don't see it.
Yeah.
What
Well, you
about
don't see it.
What about going to the bathroom?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's a whole form of etiquette.
If you need a bathroom, find a bathroom. You know,
What about the ocean?
the ocean or lake is not a convenient. It is a convenient alternative, but it shouldn't be.
And unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
That's totally unacceptable.
And if you have little kids, put them in swim diapers. If you have older little children, try to position yourself nearer to the bathroom so you can get them there quickly.
I think that's a good rule
Yeah.
of thumb.
Yeah.
Be close to the bathroom if you have a big family.
I think a lot of people think, oh, it's a huge ocean, it's not going to make any difference. It's not. It's not even very sanitary for you. So, yeah.
What about the warning signs? You were mentioning turtles. People see jellyfish signs and ignore them.
They ignore them or riptide or
Yeah.
whatever, and they think, I'm a strong swimmer, I can handle this.
I've
And
seen
usually,
that too.
usually they have to be rescued.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because there is a riptide and they get caught in it, and it's don't ignore the warning signs, and also don't ignore the lifeguards. They're not there to monitor your behavior. They're there to keep you safe. So don't give them a hard time. They're not trying to infringe on what you're doing. And the last thing is refrain from making comments about other people's swim attire or bodies.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's usually a lot of people that should be hauled in by the beach attire police, but since they're not
Yeah, the beach attire police doesn't exist.
yeah,
so
it doesn't. And so if you're really offended,
move.
don't look.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't look.
Or
And that-
move.
Or move.
Or move. Yeah.
And that's great. That's a good place to end it. I agree. People should just keep their mouths quiet when they're at the beach.
And it's going to be a good beach weekend, I think.
It is,
so
yeah. We'll get the
everybody
rain.
enjoy.
The rain will come today, and then hopefully we'll clear up, and
Yeah.
we'll have some sun. Catherine, as always, thank you so much for coming on the couch.
Thank you.
That's all we've got for Arts and Leisure this week. We'll be back next week with our real dad, Mark Schumann.
Yep.
Until then, have a great weekend and drive safe, everybody.
Only living for today, about to break away. It's alright in front of you. It can happen if you want it to. For those who want to play, find your own way.
For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000. Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook. At the Language School in Ridgefield, we teach practical language for real life, tailored to your professional needs or those of your children. Offering more than a dozen languages, the school specializes in creating customized classes for businesses, government agencies, and healthcare professionals in Fairfield and Westchester counties. Native speakers from around the world will instruct students of all ages in the language and the culture using a hands-on method. Find out more about what makes us different at thelanguageschoolglobal.com or call us at 203-241-7010.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.